The princess who lived underground. Once upon a time, there was a king. He had a beautiful daughter, the most beautiful daughter, and when the time came for her to be of marriageable age, he sent for an architect to design her an underground palace. When the palace was complete, he had the architect put to death, and he sent out a notice to all of the kingdoms saying, "Whoever finds my daughter will be able to marry her." Well, the men came from far and near, from all the kingdoms. They all wanted to marry the most beautiful princess. And they all looked and looked, but no one found her, and they were all put to death. But there was in these parts a youth, a beautiful youth, who was as clever as he was beautiful. And he first went to a shepherd and said, "Oh, shepherd, you have a golden fleece. I beg you to sew me up into that golden fleece and present me to the king." The shepherd agreed to this, sewed the young man up in the golden fleece, putting food and water inside, and presented it to the king. And the king desired this sheep greatly for his daughter and asked the shepherd to sell it to him. But the shepherd said he was unable to do that because the sheep was not his to give, but it was his to lend for 3 days to the king. So the king accepted this bargain. It was the best he was going to get. He took the sheep down to the princess immediately, and he walked down several stairways and around several corners and through many doors, until at last he got to a large door. And to this large door he said, "Open, Za Tara Matara of the earth." And the door opened. They proceeded through this large door and then went down more corridors, around more corners, and through more courtyards. And then they came again to an even bigger door. And this door, like the first, the king said, "Open, Za Tara Matara of the earth." And it opened. He led the youth who was disguised as a sheep through this door and presented him to the princess. The princess was delighted by this sheep and played with him for some time until after night fell, the youth cast off the sheepskin, and the princess, seeing how beautiful he was, fell in love immediately. She asked him why he had disguised himself as a sheep to get to her, and he explained that everyone else had died trying to find her, and he thought a disguise was a good idea. The princess agreed. "But," she said, "wait, my father will throw you another task after this. He will turn my maidens and I into ducks, and then you will have to discover which of the ducks is I. But do not fear, I shall turn my head thusly, and I shall clean my feathers with my beak, and you will know that that duck is myself, and then we shall be married." The young man agreed. This was a reasonable plan. He spent the remainder of the 3 days with the princess, and at the end of it, she sewed him back into the golden sheepskin, and the king returned the youth to the shepherd. After the youth was with the shepherd, he cast off his sheepskin again, raced to the palace, and said, "King, oh king, I must try to marry your daughter. I will find her." And the king said, "Nay, do not do this. You will die. You are young and beautiful. Go away." But the youth insisted that he would find the princess, and he led the king through corridors, downstairs, through doors, to the large door, at which he stopped the king and said, "You must say the words to open the door." The king said, "What shall I say? Open sesame?" "No," said the youth, "you must say, 'Open, Zartara Martara of the earth.'" The king said this. The door opened. The youth led him through more corridors to the second door, which opened the same as the first. And then the king entered and turned them all into ducks. Ducks. "Which one of these ducks is the princess?" he said. "Tell me, and you'll marry her." "Well, the princess is the duck which is cleaning her feathers with her bill, like that." The king conceded that this was so, and he could no longer hinder the union of the beautiful youth and the beautiful princess. They were married, and they lived happily ever after.